Aloha. Uh, Today I wanted to go over try to make a shorter video and see if I can make get to the points quicker. Just to play around. This is a book laying around, and I decided to go through it and talk about subconscious hustle game and how it gets manipulated through the system of our own psyches, our own culture or creation of culture, and how we send these stories down the lines, generations, and how subcategories of realities or subcategories of history get put out there and become a truth, or they become a reality. And once those realities get created, back from how we see our planets, how we see the stars, how we see our planet, how we see each other, how we think of each other, what is human nature, all of the foundations of our reality, they got created at some point. This our ideas of ourselves got created, and they were so this whole idea right here, before after Columbus, the fact that this exists, there was a history that was created when this happened, as if it was happening, and that was the only thing that ever happened and will be happening, and all these other histories exist, which is our story, and they get manipulated to not exist in our waking state, because other storylines need to be validated to exist, such as the war mentality, such as the nuclear weapon mentality, and nowadays it's the drone dropping mentality. So a good example would be, in order to sell drones overseas, and to drop bombs on people, like in order to get that approved by the Congress or whatever, the people have to give the permission to do that. And so there's legislature and different versions of writings and different styles of magic that get created to convince us into making it okay for this stuff to happen. So drones is just a mini version of the nuclear weapon. So when the nuclear bomb was dropped in Hiroshima, and that happened, we had to heal from that, at war as a species on a planet at war with itself. That happened at that point, and it hasn't stopped happening yet. It's still going. We're still healing from that space. We're still at war. Sub-layer storylines are still being played, and the deeper roots of stories and issues are not being revealed, because a lot of things need to be held back in order to maintain illusions of power, illusions of control, illusions of stuff that exists and doesn't exist. Like the fact that the Olmec civilizations, all the pre-Columbian information, the Egyptian connections to America. There's a lotus here, and this is an Inca. This is an Incan space. So see the Eye of Horus. This is across the world. So storylines get put out, and then we get told these stories, and a lot of them are just blatant lies, or straight up meant to deceive or be mistruth in order to sell a story of hustle. So the hustle game, so like the fact that Diet Coke exists. Diet Coke came out to make people think a certain way, and then the whole diet mentality came out at the same time, and then the whole microwave mentality came out before that. Now all this stuff exists. These are sub-layers, sub-chessboard games that are being put out there to keep up a story of destruction within our own psyche, within our own culture, how we feed our children, the whole fast food mentality, and the fact that these people know that this stuff is killing people. this food exists out there and it has a psyche of it. It goes all the way into how we understand our culture or create our culture. How we all this stuff is really it's kind of like imploding culture by getting into it like a parasite and or a virus and infecting it, and then it'll die, and also kills the culture at the same time. So it's like a whole bunch of different little realities. So the fact that religions all over the world are being sold under the guise of unifying people and making people connected with, or providing a space to connect people with God, at the same time is dividing the entire planet's connection with itself and the people's connection with itself, and then that space gets manipulated to keep that divisive mentality flowing, and create a system of dependency and desensitization that pays into the fact that we can still be going to war and doing stuff that goes against our better nature and even understanding of what human nature is. The fact that we don't even understand what human nature is in school. So it's just like distractive lies after distractive lies that get filtered into our ideas of ourselves, our own religions, our own workplaces, our own personalities, our own ideas of art, how we eat, what we eat, soul food, the whole wording of that, and the fact that like bacon, everywhere you turn you're being sold bacon. The diet culture, and the fact that the diet culture has to exist. That whole manipulation of that whole manipulation of your relationship to your body has to exist in order to maintain the profit from it. So the healthcare system, the fact that exists, it exists because people keep getting sick, and people keep getting manipulated to be sick and pay into that system. So the healthcare system is connected to the education system, and the education system is connected to the food system, and the food system is connected. All these systems are intertwined, interconnected, and we are voting on this stuff thinking that we're paying into our community and the way everything works, but really it's been manipulated for so long that these storylines that we think we're voting for or think are offered, and the only relationships that are available to us and harmonics that are available to us in this moment on this reality is based upon voting and only voting for certain people and all that stuff. First of all, that's a big ass lie right there, just off the get-go. It's a big ass lie to be manipulating people to think on a scale of limitation like that to you. It's meant to just give your power away. So that's the backing up with the fact that we have to go to war. That's the same sort of thing. You have to vote for this. You have to they have to tell you this stuff is going on, and then it happens. So it's not like this stuff is just happening. It's we are a part of it, and we are interacting with it, and it's now imploding on itself because people are realizing the game that's within the infrastructure, and how its self-destructive nature is becoming more obvious to a lot more people now, and we're disassembling that self-destructive nature. And the focus wants to be channeled onto the destructive side of that healing process. So this is all, even though this is a destructive process, this is a healing process at the same time. Nobody wants to talk about that. The other side of that is the reconnection to our ancestors and the stuff that's ancient, that's already happened here before. These will be the storylines that will assist us in healing ourselves and rolling on the empowered circuit, as opposed to the giving our powers away to people who want to maintain a space of control. There's a difference there. So all the storylines that are being played are out there to keep that dependency program going. and it goes down to our education system, the way everything. So the diet mentality, the diet world mentality, is just another hustle game. Like the fact that diet soda exists is directly connected to the healthcare system and how people get sick. They know it's connected to cancer. They know it's connected to obesity and heart conditions and everything. Everything that's out there is connected to this food. There are only so many things that humans interact with on a daily basis: food, water, shelter, security, and your spirit, your connection to your creation, your creator, whatever that is, that source energy. And every single part of that space is manipulated on a cultural circuit, on a mainstream circuit, on a nationwide planetary circuit. It's everywhere we look. Everywhere you look, there's a military base. And these are all psychological structures that exist, and we vote on this stuff to keep it going. So yeah, the hustle game. I'll finish off on the hustle game. The hustle game, is within the infrastructure of what people consider successful. That's like the biggest hustlers are the successful people, so-called successful people out there. And then within the lower and middle class system, the hustle game exists as a sense of like, I don't want to use the word, I guess like accomplishment. There's people that feel like proud of, hustling. It's everywhere. So, there is that sense. I'm glad I did go into it, because there's that sense of being comfortable. You're so good at it, you become comfortable with it. You're so good at it that you start to teach that to your children and share that style of existence, because that's the only way you can get through, is to hustle through this broken society, is to hustle. So if it's approved and being done by the big wigs on the top of the pyramid, and this is all based in fiat currency. That's where this gives all this power, or we give all this power, as the fiat currency that exists. So we keep empowering this, and the energy, the magic on that is who's on your dollar bills, how that separates you from the planet and each other and your resources. But there's a magic definitely when you have Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill being moved around every day. And what he was known for and what he did to the country that uses his bill. There's a magic there. Yeah. So diet soda mentalities, manipulation of the psyche, it's everywhere. We get separated from our dreams when we have alarm clocks go off, like that phone in the back. Every single part is to jar you into what you're supposed to understand as your reality. So there's a diet soda reality that gets put out there. People actually think they're helping themselves when it's actually destroying themselves. It's on a subtle magic. So you have a diet soda democracy, you got a diet soda everything, it's everywhere. And there's aspartame within all this stuff, so it's being sold to tell you that, oh, you're going to be better and this is better for you, but it's not. Because the only thing better for you is going to come from your human engagement, from your entire rewriting of your whole understandings of the connections you have with yourself and each other and the planet. It's everywhere. It's not going to come from anybody else. So back to the hustle game. So the hustlers get used to hustling and teach that to their children, while successful hustlers in the education, the university system, political game, they get better at manipulating the chessboard, while hustle game people are playing checkers. So that's the whole thing. So the hustle exists within the checkerboard, when the real games or the bigger games are being played on the chessboard. So and within the checkers, you have successful checker players and you have unsuccessful checker players, and within those spaces is people who are happy to be successful within that game and unhappy but living. And there's all these different layers out there that exist within this hustle game. But it's all imploding on itself right now because all these systems of control are imploding. So my battery's down right now, but I'll leave it right there. Until next time, thank you for hanging out. Peace, love, and harmony.